Good morning, guys. News today focuses more on matters off the field than on the field. Arsenal have made two appointments to their backroom team. Even Gazidis spoke about the potential for a catalyst for change this summer. Perhaps we're beginning to see some of that take hold. The appointments are, well, first and foremost, the one that's generated the most news is that of, what's his name? I've forgotten. Darren Burgess, a fitness expert who will be joining us next month. He's been working in Aussie rules football with Port Adelaide. He has got experience in football in the Premier League, in fact, with Brendan Rodgers. And he is incredibly highly regarded. It seems he'll be coming in to work alongside Shad Forsyth on fitness, player preparation, individual training programs, perhaps even diet and things like that. He's got a very wide-ranging role at Port Adelaide. And hopefully, he can work with Shad and make sure our players are in absolutely peak condition. I think with Arsenal, we always think first and foremost about avoiding player injuries, but it's also about conditioning. It's also about making sure we're explosive, that we're able to play 2 or 3 times a week. And hopefully he can help with that. I mean, if you're training those Aussie rules guys, they're in phenomenal condition. So if you can bring some of that to Arsenal, so much the better. The other appointment is that of Huss Fahmy. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He has come over from Team Sky and Pro Cycling to help work on the legal element of player contracts. Well, he'll be working alongside Dick Law in that respect, and God knows we need help with player contracts. If he can work some sort of clause into new deals for Alexis and Ozil that means they can never leave, for example, that might prove to be ideal. Anyway, these are both good appointments. This is good news. Arsenal need a degree of renovation, a bit of a new broom behind the scenes. However, I don't think they solve all the problems. There was a lot of talk about a director of football that's since been quashed. And Arsene Wenger described that as a superficial change. I don't think that is a superficial change. I think the man making these appointments and ratifying these appointments over the next 2 years should be somebody other than Arsene Wenger. And these appointments have both been made on Arsene Wenger's watch and with his say-so. But I think we need a genuine structural change to give us a structure that can outlast Arsene Wenger, to ensure that what happened in the last 3 years doesn't happen in the next 2, that we don't build any kind of succession plan, that we don't have any kind of way of preparing for Arsene's inevitable departure. My fear when Arsene Wenger signed a new deal was that he would not really help us sufficiently move on from his own reign. And I worry that without a director of football, that may still be the case. I mean, these guys, they're good appointments, I'm sure. I'm sure they're highly qualified people. But they're not quintessentially football people. And they're not either quintessentially Arsenal people. And I think those are the qualities that we lack away from the pitch. I think that comes back to Ivan Gazidis and his fellow board members. And that's where I'd love to see an appointment made. I would really love to see an appointment made. If it's called a director of football or not. If it's called a head of recruitment or whatever it might be. Director of football operations. Whatever you want to call it. Somebody who knows this culture, who knows this club, who has a vision for the footballing side, and who is here for longer than 2 years, who can manage that transition and keep the values of this club intact. That's what I want to see. And a bunch of signings, actually. That could start soon. Cheers. Subscribe.